diagrams, determine the value of the indicated angles, justify how you found each angle, do not use a property more than once. If possible, I'm going to say, okay? If possible, we're not going to use a property more than once. For example, if you use corresponding angles are congruent, don't use it again. So we're going to try to come up with new ways of justifying that. This is not showing whether or not lines are parallel. We are told lines are parallel, okay? Lines are parallel, therefore, how about this? Alternate interior, alternate interior are congruent, alternate exterior will be congruent, corresponding will be congruent, and consecutive CI, right, will be equal to 180. Those are the four things we know for sure just because of these two markings. And I'm going to go in order. Most of the time it's possible to do so. First one is A. I want to focus on the fact that A is what? 239. Always true. It's the one that I gave you right at the beginning. Vertically opposite. So let's put 39 down. And I'll just say vertically opposite angles are congruent. No work needed there other than that. So how about we write that in our diagram to have fewer unknowns there. We know that that's 39. B, I will mention that this is transversal number 1 and this is transversal number 2. Like those are the ones that are connecting my parallel lines. So that's why I tend to just stick with those as my transversals. What are these two here? You should know this one by now. If they're both inside on the same side of the transversal, they're called consecutive interior. All right. So B, I'm going to do the work here. Is 180 minus 39. You got to help me out here. 141, right? 141. And so I'm going to use this. Consecutive interior angles are equal to 180. So as long as I recognize that you know the name and you know what's supposed to be true about them, you can use that. So we're using that fact because we're told they're parallel. So 141 goes in here. C. How could I find C? There's two ways minimum. There's a straight line here, correct? I can use that one. Or what would A and C be? This is the transversal that connects them. They're on opposite side of the transversal, so it must be one of the alternate, right? Alternate interior. Should I use that one? I'm going to save that one. I'm just going to say that this is 180. Hold it. I'm going to write down 141 here. Okay, 180. Watch what I'm going to do here. Minus B, which is really 180 minus the 141, which is 39. We knew that because we know alternate interior angles are, but we're using straight angle is equal to 180. That's what we're using there. So we put down 39 here, and we use this property. We did not use alternate interior here. Okay. Jumping to D. So I actually did this in this order. 1, 2, 3, 4. D. Question, can I do anything with these two? Can I call C and D alternate interior? Sorry, consecutive interior? I cannot, because I'm focusing on these two lines being parallel. So I'm just going to travel up and down here, not sideways. Okay. Can I do D just off the bat? D and 57 are what? If I follow this one? Corresponding. That's right. So I'm going to just say 57 right off the bat. I'm just going to say that corresponding angles are congruent. These two are corresponding. Okay. Next, I'm going to find E. And there, I think we have to reuse one. We have to recycle. Okay. What are E and 57? It's the vertically opposite again. That's okay. So I'm going to call that 57. Nope, no. We could do it differently. What's D and E? Alternate interior angles are congruent. You could have done vertically opposite, of course, it's not wrong. I'm just trying to find various ways to get there. And I'm going to fill in what I've got. This was 57. This is 57. I found that C was 39. And you should be able to double check, right? Hey, alternate interior are the same, so I'm doing okay. Alternate interior are the same, so I'm doing okay, right? F is the last one. For that one, I'm going to use this straight line, knowing that I have these two angles, and that one must be 180 minus 39 minus 57. I have to reuse straight line, right? Oh, what else could you have used? Yeah, yes. Sum of triangles equal to 180. You see that? Like I had a triangle here. So it'll be essentially the same, right? The same work. 3957, you take away. Let's do some math here. So that'd be 46, 96, so 84. And I will just quickly write in this. Sum of triangles equal to 180, because I focused on this triangle that resulted from all these lines colliding. So that's 84 there. That's the last step I took. Okay. Is your brain smoking? Okay. Let's take a little step back here. You need to make sure on your study sheet you know the names and what's true about them if they are parallel. You also need to be able to show me whether or not two lines are parallel. You should make sure that you have these three at least, right? On the first page, straight angle, vertically opposite, sum of triangle, you just know that, right? And I would like to do one more. I'm looking at my time here. I wouldn't mind picking a bit of a more challenging one, but then again, I don't want to rush it. So I will rush the other one that's a bit more challenging. So I'm going to do this one as far as we can get. Okay. I forgot to add something here. Can you do that, please? Very important. You can technically not solve this if this hadn't been the case. So all three lines are parallel. All three. Okay. So If these are the parallel lines, call these one transversal 1, transversal 2. So you're going to follow that line to find those 4 pairs that we have a name for. And what can I solve for at first? What's the easiest one to do following this transversal here? You know what my favorite is? Is the straight line. There's a straight line here. You can easily find B. So I'm going to do that one first. That's going to be 180 minus 50. That's 130 degrees. Straight line. Straight angle is equal to 180. So 130 goes in there. Why not add it to your diagram? It makes things a little bit easier. Then I'm going to find what would 130 and A be? That doesn't, right? What would you call this angle and that angle? If this is your transversal, they're on the same side of the transversal, so both alternates are out. Right? So you're down to consecutive anterior or corresponding. Would this be corresponding? The answer is yes. And you're like, what about this one, Mr. Dirksen? They're all copies of each other. They're all parallel. So ignore that one for now. Just focus on the transversal. Look at these 2 angles that are given. And maybe if I did this, you would see it, right? That these are corresponding. They're corresponding to each other. One is on the inside between these 2 lines. This one is on the inside. A is on the outside, right? So that's what A is. So A, that's my second entry, is 130 degrees. And I'll just say corresponding angles are congruent. Done, right? I write that in here. I will find B because they're vertically opposite, okay? Vertically opposite angles are congruent as well. Has nothing to do with lines being parallel or not. That's always true. Where is C? C is over here. I cannot travel. I cannot use any of those 4 angles with these 2. Why not, Mr. Erickson? Because these 2 are not parallel. You cannot jump between non-parallel lines. Okay? They don't have the markings and they obviously do not look parallel. So don't make that mistake. Don't call these consecutive. Interior must be equal to 180, therefore this is 130, or corresponding. Can't do that, okay? I will do E here real quick. What are these 2 called here? If I just pick these 2 lines, what are these 2 called? They're alternate, right? This one here and this one. They're on opposite side of the transversal. So it's alternate exterior, right? So they must be the same. So I will make this 130. I'll just say alternate exterior angles are congruent. That would be my third entry. No, I did B as my third, and this is my fourth, sorry. And now for C and F, they're on this transversal. Now I'm going to focus on this one before the bell goes, before you're rushing home, okay? What are 70 and C here? If I just focus on these 2, they're alternate interior. And F is going to be 110 because I go 180 minus 70, that's 110 degrees. And that would be consecutive interior. Homework. Pages, you should all have the workbook before the bell goes. and I will post the key. I want you to try 12 to 13 in the workbook. I don't have any proof that it is parallel on here. So we'll do that. I'll assign some more tomorrow. Thank you guys. As always, you're awesome.